itself suggests what type of method it is. Actually, this method has some other names. What are the names? That is natural method, phonetical method, anti-grammatical method, or reform method. But basically this method is known as direct method, having these four types of names. That is natural method, phonetical method, anti-grammatical method, or reform method. We have learned this, that is whenever English learner they got the necessity of oral proficiency. In case of grammar translation method was in lack of oral proficiency or oral communication. So they had been searching, that means the learners, they had been searching for a method that will help them to be an efficient learner, especially for speaking, especially for communication, especially for oral proficiency. Direct method served that purpose at the initial stages of methods in English language teaching or learning. In this method, it can be called direct because meaning should be connected directly with the target language, especially in GTM, that means grammar translation method. Grammar is necessary, and also the mother language can be used in terms of teaching and learning. Direct method, no native language will be used in the classroom, not in the classroom from the perspectives of the learners as well. That means no translation will be there, no vocabulary will be there, no grammar will be there. Directly the language will be taught in the target language. What is our target language? That is English. So English will be the only medium of expression. Why? In one class we have said that actually we translate target language in native language. In that case we can't make meaning in target language, that means in English. আমরা যখন অনুবাদ করি তখন টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে আমরা মিনিংটা বুঝতে পারি। In case of direct method, we will have meaning in the target language. We will be speaking in target language. Teacher will also be speaking exclusively in the target language, and the learner will also be speaking in the target language. No translation will be there, and for this reason it is called direct method. And you have seen that cross mark, it is L1. So L1 in everyone, that means native language will be cross. Native language will not be used in any sphere of this learning method. Okay. And this method initiated at first in Germany, established in 1900 AD. Okay. And it is a reaction of grammar translation method. Okay. And in Germany, especially, we have heard this name, Francois Guin. Okay. And Guin, he initiated language acquisition. That means language learning should be quite similar to child language acquisition. That means the natural way. So direct language got the name of natural method with the prescription of this linguist, French linguist Francois Guin. Guin said that language should be quite similar to the target language, not like the translation, not like the grammar, not like the vocabulary. So, according to the thought of this French linguist, Francois Guin, direct method can be called natural method. That means the natural way. And next time, Stephen Krashen supported this man, that is Francois Guin. What is that point? Point is that language learning should be in the natural way. What is the natural way? In the natural way, a child learns mother language. So according to the prescription of Francois Guin, direct method can be called natural method. And this attempt is done by Francois Guin in the first half of 19th century. And he attempted to build language learning methodology observing the child language learning. Who? That is Francois Guin. So we can say that who is the precursor of direct method? In that case, we can say Francois Guin. So he talked about that language learning should be quite similar to the way that a child learns a language. That is the natural method. And that is why most of the refer to advocate a natural method of language teaching and learning. We have got another name in that perspective, that is the historical background of direct method. We have said Montaigne. Montaigne, the pronunciation is it is this G, okay? That means Montaigne. And he wrote many essays, okay, especially autobiographical essays. And Montaigne had a direct influence of numerous Western writers, and his massive volume of essay contains some of the most influential essays in target language, that means in English. So Montaigne also initiated that term. In which way? In fact, this French philosopher Montaigne described how he was entrusted to a guardian who explained a situation of his Latin learning at his 1 year of age. Okay. And quite similar incident happened to Montaigne's life, and his father wanted him to speak Latin well. Montaigne had a history, and that he compiled in his essays. And what is the history? That is the way of learning Latin language. What was the method that was used for learning Latin language? That is the grammar translation method. And this grammar translation method, we thought that grammar translation method will be appropriate. Appropriate, that means in case of spelling, in case of grammar, in case of structure, everything should be to the point. And here Montaigne mentioned an incident, that is one guardian, he wanted his we should say child, he wanted his child learn language in the exact way, that means following the exact rules and regulation of grammar. What it is? That is the grammar translation. And many of us, we can remember that in our high school level, যদি আমরা একটা গ্রামার ভুল করতাম, যদি আমরা একটা স্পেলিং ভুল করতাম, তাহলে আমাদের টিচাররা কি বলতো যে তুমি এই স্পেলিংটা জানো না। কিছুক্ষণ আগে আমরা এর ক্ষেত্রেও বলছিলাম, জিটিএম এর পরীক্ষার ক্ষেত্রেও বলছিলাম যে ডোন্ট মেক মিস্টেকস ইন কেস অফ দ্য সিলি মিস্টেকস লাইক রাইটিং অ্যান্ড বিগিনিং। This is what? That is the thing that we should initiate the correct, appropriate language, spelling and grammar. And same situation Montaigne found in his own life. That means his father wanted him to learn Latin exactly following the rules and regulation. And Montaigne, he said that we shouldn't follow these strict rules and regulation. We should be liberal. And for this reason, he initiated and supported this term. That means language learning should be natural, not with the weighty weight of grammar, not with the weighty weight of vocabulary and others. So that is the situation we have learned from another linguist, Montaigne. We have seen another linguist. His name is Lambert Sauvé. And like Montaigne, Sauvé had also 63 articles and 1,420 library works. That means he contributed also towards the reading and writing of the target language, especially for English language learning and teaching. Subhe opened a language school in Boston, USA, in late 1960 decades, and his method soon referred to as the natural method. So like Francois Guin, Subhe also wrote many essays, and he established a school, and there he taught his school not following the grammar and translation, but following the natural method. So third linguist in this category, that Subhe, also initiated a language learning teaching and learning method that can also be called the natural approach. So Guin, Lambert, Subhe and Montaigne, they supported, that means quite contradictory or quite opposite to GTM, and for this reason this method is called direct method. Subhe believed that the natural method argued that foreign language could be taught without translation, as well as without the use of learners' native language. Montaigne and Guin, they said in a different way, but here Subhe said directly that means mother language should not be used in case of second language learning, and also no translation will be there. And meaning of the target language should be conveyed directly through the demonstration and action. আমরা বলি যে হচ্ছে ডানাই রোদের গন্ধ মুছে ফেলেছি, জীবনানন্দের কবিতা দূর তেমনি দেখেছি তার অন্ধকারে, পাখির ডানার মতো চোখ তুলে না করে পাখি বাসান পাখি নিরে। আমরা যদি এটা ট্রান্সলেশন করতে যাই তাহলে এক্সাক্ট ট্রান্সলেশন আমরা করতে পারবো না। ডিরেক্ট মেথডে বলা হচ্ছে যে বাংলা ওয়ার্ড ব্যবহারই করা যাবে না, কি করতে হবে, উই হ্যাভ টু, এখন পাখির নিড যদি আপনাকে বোঝাতে হয়, কারণ আমি পাখিকে বলতে পারবো না, we have to make the learner understand that is the nest of a bird, এবং সেটাকে কিভাবে বর্ণনা করতে হবে, ডেমনস্ট্রেশন অথবা অ্যাকশন দিয়ে, মিমিক্রি দিয়ে বা অন্য মাইন্ড দিয়ে, মুখাভঙ্গি দিয়ে, because no translation will be allowed in case of. This is the positive side and also the negative side. Every English word cannot be described and explained properly with the target language. Okay, so Subhe said that the meaning should be conveyed directly through the demonstration and action. So in that case, we can say that Lambert Subhe is the precursor of direct method. And why it is called direct? That means language learning should be done directly toward in the target language. We have got another German scholar, Franke, or Frank, you can call it. And Franke, according to him, he came up with some other principle. He said, he wrote on the psychological principle of the direct association between the forms and meaning in the target language. We have said in case of approach, that means in every language there will have two kinds of meaning, that is psychological and linguistic approach. Okay, so this Frank said about the psychological underpinning of direct method. What it is? That is provided a theoretical justification for a monolingual approach to language teaching. Okay, so in one class I have said that if you want to be a good speaker, then you have to speak in English, you have to think in English, and you have to even dream in English. Apart from the sitting, meeting, eating, gossiping everywhere, in chatting as well, okay, you will also be speaking English. Not only that, you will be thinking in the target language. Frank said that. That means we have to think. Whenever we will be able to think in the target language, our cognition, that means understanding, will be good. That means Frank said about the psychological importance of direct method. কেন ট্রান্সলেশন করা যাবে না তার ব্যাখ্যাটা দিলেন হলো ফ্রাঙ্ক। বলছে যখন আমরা টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে চিন্তা করব, টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে চিন্তা করা শিখব, তখন আমাদের ভাষা ব্যবহারের রেজাল্টটা দ্যাট উইল বি গুড। দ্যাট মিনস আওয়ার প্রোডাকশন উইল বি গুড। According to Frank, a language could best be taught by using it actively in the classroom. Some other thing will be there. We can say that yes, you want to go, you want to learn Italian, go to Italy, okay, and go to the Italian embassy. There you will see you can talk to the target people. But Frank said that in the classroom, language can be taught effectively because they are the learner should be ready to accept the input. That means the language. Rather than using analytical procedure that focus on explanation of grammar rules in classroom teaching. Okay, so in the classroom, language should be taught, but in which way? Not utilizing the grammar. But what is the other ways? Other ways, that means speaking, drilling, okay, some other method. Teacher must encourage direct and spontaneous use of the language in the classroom. In case of GTM, we have said that, it's not very tough for the teachers to take preparation for teaching language because he or she has to speak in the target language, in the native language. But in case of direct method, teacher will be spontaneous in case of delivering the target language. And that is one of the principles of direct method. In order to initiate thinking of the learner in the target language, teacher must speak spontaneously in the target language because teacher will be the role model in case of direct method. And after getting the spontaneous delivery by the teacher, the learner will be able to think in target language. Language learning should then be able to induce less roles of grammar. Grammar will be there. We can't deduct grammar. Grammar কে আমরা বাদ দিতে পারি না। Direct method আমরা তাহলে বলতে পারি তাহলে কি grammar থাকবে না? Well, of course there will be, but like GTM we will not be putting much emphasis on grammar. That is the target of direct method. Grammar will be there, but less important. What is the importance? Importance, that is the spontaneous delivery from the teachers and the learners as well. The teacher replaces the textbook in the early stages of the learning. Okay, keep away the textbook. The teacher will make a lesson plan, and according to the lesson plan, what should be done, that could be delivered in the classroom. And known words could be used to teach new vocabulary using mime. Mime, you know, mukhabhinay. And demonstration and pictures. Okay. Mnemonics, have you heard the word mnemonics? Anybody কেউ জিআরই এর প্রিপারেশন নিয়েছিলেন এখানে ক্লাসে? হ্যাঁ, নিয়েছিলেন? জিআরই এর প্রিপারেশন নিতে গেলে কয়েক হাজার ওয়ার্ড পড়তে হয়, মুখস্থ করতে হয়, এবং সেই ওয়ার্ডগুলো পড়ার জন্য কিছু টেকনিক বাংলাদেশি লার্নাররা টিচাররা ইন্ট্রোডিউস করে। সেটা কি? যেমন অ্যাংরি ওয়ার্ডটাকে বোঝানোর জন্য এমন একটা ছবি দিল যে ছবির মধ্যে এই মানুষটা খুবই অ্যাংরি। হ্যাঁ, তার মানে অ্যাংরি এই ওয়ার্ডটাকে বোঝানোর জন্য কি ব্যবহার করা হচ্ছে? পিকচার। ওকে, ইন কেস অফ ডিরেক্ট মেথড the teacher will be using pictures, mime, demonstration to make the class understand in the target language. What is the motive? That means we will try to make our learners able to think in target language. And if they can think in target language, there will be the spontaneous delivery of oral communication. That is the target in the direct language. So we started our lecture in such a way that in case of GTM, there is a lack of oral proficiency, especially speaking. In case of direct method, that is totally opposite to GTM, and for this reason they initiated every ways how a learner can be efficient in communication. Okay, so these are the things they will be using in this method. These natural language learning principles provided the foundation for what came to be known as the direct method, or DM, which refers to the most widely known for the natural method. Okay, so if the question is that according to the Subhay or Frank describe the principles of direct method, then you have to mention this way. Okay, what actually this man Frank initiated, and Frank initiated that we have to practice this habit just to get the learners able to think in target language. And another German Jewish immigrant, Maximilian Delphinus Bartels or Bartist, okay, and he established a school in the USA. This man has a very good masters, and this Bartels, he established a school in USA, especially in Boston most probably, and there he initiated that term, that is, we should learn language in such a way. That is the way. Actually Bartels didn't call this actually the direct method, he called it Bartels method, and he had stood some principle and procedures according to the Richards and Rogers in the direct method. Classroom instruction was conducted exclusively in the target language, that we have said earlier. Only everyday vocabulary and sentences are taught. Everyday vocabulary. What is our target? That means we want to make the learner efficient in oral communication. So vocabulary will be there, but only day-to-day activities. That means you are supposed to purchase some things in an English-speaking country. So what would be the way? That means in order to how I can, you may ask someone else, then how we get to the near post office. So how we get to the near post office? Someone said, oh, you can go forward, turn left, turn right, go east, you will see a roundabout over here. So these are the ways, that means you will be using the language that are necessary for your day-to-day activities. Not like that, how to write an essay, what is the thesis statement, what is the literature review, not like that. In case of direct method, vocabulary will be there, that will be needed for our day-to-day activities. Suppose you have gone to the hospital, you are sick, so what type of vocabulary will be there? In case of another language learning methodology, we see that professional English language learning. Okay? That is, what is the professional? In that case, the engineer's English will be different, the doctor's English will be different, even the pilot's English will be different, aeronautics engineer's English vocabulary will be different. But in case of direct method, what would be the vocabulary? Vocabulary that will be used in our day-to-day activities. আমরা বাজারে যাব, আমরা হাসপাতালে যাব, আমরা স্কুলে যাব, আমরা কিছু পারচেজ করব, আমরা কারোর সাথে টেলিফোনে কনভারসেশন করব, আমরা কাউকে মেইল পাঠাবো। এই কাজগুলো করার জন্য যে ইংলিশগুলো দরকার, সেই vocabulary এবং সেই গ্রামারগুলোই এই direct method-এ use করা হয়। Yes. What is our target? We want to make our learners efficient in oral communication. And oral communication skills were built up in a careful graded progression organized around question and answer, exchange between teachers and the student in small intensive classes. A small intensive class. What might be the definition of speaking? Speaking er সংজ্ঞা কি? In one of my class, আগে আমি স্পিকিং রিডিং পড়াতাম, সেখানে আমি একটা সহজ ডেফিনেশন তৈরি করেছিলাম। সেটা কি? স্পিকিং ইজ নাথিং বাট আস্কিং অ্যান্ড আনসারিং কোয়েশ্চেন্স। হ্যালো, হাউ আর ইউ? Oh, I'm fine. Where are you been? Oh, I'm from Chittagong. Oh, Chittagong, which area? Oh, Chittagong actually the area where the railroad has gone under the flat. Okay. Oh, that's very extensive experience. So that means I am speaking to you, but what things I am doing? I am asking you some question and you are answering the question. So speaking is nothing but asking and answering question. In direct method, that technique is initiated. The teacher will not be delivering lectures, and just like in GTM, the students will start snoring. Like that. In case of direct method, student will involve the learners. Learners' class size will be small and exclusively small size class. There are 39 students in this class. In case of direct method, the class should be max 25. Okay. And in which way? That means if there will be 25 students, there will be student to student conversation, that means speaking, and also the teacher can, if in 3 hours class or 2 hours class, if a teacher wants to speak with one student, 1, 2, 3 minutes he can speak. But if the class becomes a large class consisting students of 100, that happens to GTM. In GTM, it is a positive side that in GTM we can maintain a class consisting more than 100. But in direct method, it is prescribed that class size will be small. For what? That means speaking between students and speaking between teachers and students. Okay, that is the action. And also, grammar was taught inductively. আমরা বলেছি এর আগে. New teaching points are introduced orally. Okay. And concrete vocabulary was taught. Concrete vocabulary was taught through demonstration, object, that pictures, and abstract vocabulary was taught by association of ideas. Abstract vocabulary, what is that? Kindness. Okay. এখন কাইন্ডনেসের তো আর ছবি দেখানো যাবে না, এটা আপনাকে কি করতে হবে? অভিনয় করে দেখাতে হবে, অথবা হ্যাপিনেস, jolly mood, হাস্যোজ্জ্বল ছবি দিয়ে আপনাকে বোঝাতে হবে. In case of direct method, you have to do that. Both speech and listening comprehension were taught. Okay, so in case of GTM, 2 components were initiated, that is reading and writing. So in GTM, listening and speaking was absent. In direct method, listening and speaking should be initiated. Okay, and for this reason it is said that direct method is totally opposite to grammar translation method. And correct pronunciation and grammar were emphasized. Correct pronunciation, it has another name, that is phonetical method. Phonetical method, that means we will be understanding. Actually, I say that yes, this is sir, I'm calling from Bangladesh. Sir, I can't get you. Who are you? এখন আমি যখন বলছি, আপনি যদি কথা বুঝতে না পারেন তাহলে বলবেন কি, প্লিজ রিপিট স্যার, আই ক্যান ক্যাচ ইট কোয়াইট ক্লিয়ার। কারণ আপনি সেটা যে শব্দটা আপনি বলছেন ভালোভাবে বলতেছেন, কিন্তু আপনি ওটার উচ্চারণটা জানেন না বলে ক্যাচ করতে পারছেন না। ইন কেস অফ ডিরেক্ট মেথড, you have to understand the exact pronunciation of the target language, and for this reason you can increase your vocabulary. Listening আমরা কিভাবে প্র্যাকটিস করতে পারি? শুধুমাত্র আমাদের কি করতে হবে? We have to listen the target language. Target language of what? Target language এর মুভি দেখতে হবে, target language এর গান শুনতে হবে, target language এর কি দেখতে হবে? নিউজ দেখতে হবে. Okay, these are the ways. But in case of the target language movies, songs and newses, you have to understand the correct pronunciation. They will be using the standard pronunciation of the target language, and for this reason one of the name of this direct method, that is phonetical method. Okay, so in case of Barley's school, আমরা একজনের নাম দেখলাম না? Yes, the man having a long masters. This man is Barley's. He established a school in USA, and that school was established in Boston, and he initiated the term. What is the term? Never translate, demonstrate, never explain, act. Never make a speech, ask question. What do you think? Suppose a student may ask a question, sir, I can't understand. So what do you think? That means if I ask the students একটা প্রশ্ন যে করলেন তার কাছে আমি ছড়িয়ে দিলাম, কিভাবে? What do you think? In that case, the student will initiate some speaking. Okay, in that case, never deliver speech, just ask questions. And Never imitate mistakes, correct them. Okay. What imitate? That means বিভিন্ন সময় বলা হয় যে যদি কাউকে হলো কেউ হয়তো একটা মানে বক্তৃতা দিচ্ছে, বক্তৃতার মাঝে হয়তো একটা ওয়ার্ডের উচ্চারণ উনি ভুল করতেছেন, গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথডে বলা হয় যে তাকে বলতে দেন, কারণ যদি তাকে ওখানেই বন্ধ করে দেওয়া হয় তাহলে তার ফ্লোটা কমে যাবে। ওকে, কিন্তু ডিরেক্ট মেথডে বলা হচ্ছে নো, as soon as you will understand the mispronunciation by the speaker, correct it. Okay, because learning a thing in wrong pronunciation, that would be a part of your habit. Okay, যেটা আমরা পরের সেমিস্টারে হয়তো শিখবো আর কি, বিহেভিয়ার ইজ থিওরির ক্ষেত্রে। ওকে, সো নেভার স্পিক উইথ সিঙ্গেল ওয়ার্ড, ইউজ সেন্টেন্স। ওকে, that is another good example. Actually, how we can increase your vocabulary. আপনি বললেন আমি 1,00,000 সেন্টেন্সের ওয়ার্ডের অর্থ জানি, কিন্তু আপনি কয়টা সেন্টেন্স লিখতে পারেন? বলে স্যার পারি না। In case of direct method, isolated vocabulary will not be taught. If you learn a word, try to learn the uses of that specific word in a sentence. Not one sentence, 2 or 3 sentences. So in this direct method, initiate that approach. And never use the book, use your lesson plan. Never jump around, follow your plan. Okay? প্রথম ক্লাসে একটা জিনিস শুরু করলেন, সেকেন্ড ক্লাসে একদম টপ ক্লাইম্যাক্সে চলে গেলেন। নাও gradually you have to grab, you have to follow the path of the learners and speak naturally, not so speedy, not so slowly, not so quickly, not so loudly. So speak naturally. Why? Because the name of direct method is natural method. Okay, and never be impatient. Take easy. অনেক সময় আমরা what do you think, আপনি এটা পারেন না, এটা করতে পারছেন না। That is the impatience of the teachers, okay, or instructor, what we can say. That in case of direct method, don't be impatient. Take it easy. That means it's very natural. Okay, in case of presentation, naturally I would say, that means এখানে এসে আমি বক্তৃতা দিচ্ছি, মনে হচ্ছে যে কিছুই হচ্ছে না, কিন্তু আমিও যখন বক্তৃতা প্রথম দিতে গিয়েছি তখন আমারও পা কাঁপছে। ওকে, তখন এই স্টেজ ধরে দাঁড়াইছিলাম। সো ইটস ন্যাচারাল যে এখানে স্টেজে আসলে স্বাভাবিক লার্নারদের ক্ষেত্রে বা প্রেজেন্টারদের ক্ষেত্রে এখন 15 বছর পড়াচ্ছি, সো সেটা হয়ে গেছে। বাট ইটস ন্যাচারাল দ্যাট স্টুডেন্ট লার্নার উইল মেক মিস্টেক্স, অ্যান্ড ইটস ভেরি ন্যাচারাল দ্যাট স্টুডেন্ট উইল ফিল শাই for speaking in front of the other learners. Okay, so it's natural. So take it easy. Don't be impassioned that every night or overnight a learner will be an orator like Shere Bangla ke Fazlul Haq. একদিনেই সেটা হবে না। Okay, so these are the pattern that is followed by direct method. So that is this method actually it overemphasized and distorted the similarities between naturalistic first language learning and classroom for language learning, as well as consider the practical realities in the classroom. So it is in that perspective we see that direct method will be following in a natural way, and it lacked a rigorous basis in applied linguistics theory. Okay, so we see these are the component, but still it will have some drawbacks. Okay, as soon as we will be getting the design methods and everything in case of direct method, all of you or all of us, we have become fan of direct methods, isn't it? But it has some drawbacks according to some linguists. It requires native speakers, teachers, a spontaneous delivery of the lectures. It cannot be provided by the Bangladeshi speakers. It can be provided by a native speaker teachers. Okay, and who is that? That means either American or that should be near close to the native speakers teachers. It is one of the কারণ একটা ভাষা ডেমনস্ট্রেট করতে, অভিনয় করে, মাইম করে বোঝানোর মতো অভিজ্ঞতা শুধুমাত্র নেটিভ ইংলিশ স্পিকারদেরই আছে। It is one of the drawbacks. That means the requirements of the teacher should be quite similar to the requirements of a native speaker teacher. or very close, একদম না হলেও তার কাছাকাছি. It is one of the drawbacks of this direct method. It was largely dependent on the teacher's skill rather than the textbook. Okay, the teacher, how teacher will be delivering the lecture. Actually, in case of a classroom, listening will also be occurred. The teacher will be delivering lecture and we will also be listening that. So if you can understand the teacher speaks, এই জন্য বলা হয়ে থাকে আপনি কত সিজিপিএ পেলেন এর জন্য আপনি ইউকেতে ভর্তি হওয়ার জন্য একটাই যোগ্যতা, সেটা কি আপনার আইএলটিএসে হলো কত লাগবে, ভালো হলে 6, ভালো মানের ইউনিভার্সিটি হলে সবগুলোতে 7, আর যদি একটু কম মানের ইউনিভার্সিটি হয় সবগুলোতে 6. এটা দ্বারা তারা কি বোঝে? দ্যাট মিনস দ্যাট স্টুডেন্টস ক্যান লিসেন ওয়েল, দ্যাট স্টুডেন্ট ক্যান রাইট ওয়েল, দ্যাট স্টুডেন্ট ক্যান রিড ওয়েল, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট স্টুডেন্ট ক্যান speak well. That means the 4 language skills. So if you get this skill quite good, that you can get yourself admitted in UK universities. What is the component? That means he has the overall grade. আপনি CGPA কত পেয়েছেন, that is not the important. And in that that is the drawbacks. It was largely dependent on the teacher's skill rather than on the textbook. All teachers might not be proficient enough in foreign language to copy the principles of direct method. বাংলাদেশে যদি ইংরেজির টিচার ধরি, ইংরেজি পড়াই, 100টা ইউনিভার্সিটি আছে প্রাইভেট এবং পাবলিক মিলায়। আমাদের ডিপার্টমেন্টে 22 জন শিক্ষক ইংরেজির। তো এরকম যদি অ্যাভারেজে যদি 10 জন করে টিচার ধরি প্রত্যেক ডিপার্টমেন্টে, তার মানে 100 গুণন কত 10 কত 1000 ইংরেজির শিক্ষক আছেন প্রাইভেট এবং সরকারি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় মিলায়ে। সো ইট ইজ নট অলওয়েজ বি ওকে দ্যাট এভরিবডি উইল হ্যাভ দ্য নেটিভ লাইক ফ্লুয়েন্সি। সবার সেরকম এটা থাকে না। সো ইটস ওয়ান অফ দ্য ড্রব্যাকস অফ দ্য ডিরেক্ট মেথড দ্যাট দে রিকোয়ার। ডিরেক্ট মেথড রিকোয়ার্স নেটিভ লাইক teachers, native speakers teachers. Strict application of the direct method becomes counterproductive since teachers were required to describe avoiding the native language. Sometimes a simple and brief explanation in the student's native language would have been okay. পাখির নিড, এই কথাটা আবার ঘুরে আসলো। আমি বললাম নেস্ট, নেস্ট মানে বাসা। এখন বাসা তো আমি বলতে পারবো না, কেন? ডিরেক্ট মেথডে এটাকে আমাকে এক্সপ্লেন করে বুঝাতে হবে যে নেস্ট মানে বাসা। আমি ছবিও আঁকাতে পারছি না, তাহলে যদি আমি বাসা বুঝাতে পাই, পাখির বাসা, ওকে, তার মানে আমাকে পাখির বাসা বুঝাতে হলে কি করতে হবে? যে আ প্লেস মেড বাই আ বার্ড দ্যাট ইজ ফর রেস্টিং দ্য বার্ডস অ্যান্ড লেইং এগস ওভার দেয়ার, and it will be on top of a building, it might be on top of a trees like that. কিন্তু কিন্তু হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু যদি আমি সিম্পলি বলি যে কি বাসা, পাখির বাসা বললেই আমরা কি নেটিভ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে কিন্তু সরাসরি আমরা বুঝে যাচ্ছি, কিন্তু সেই ভাষাটা যদি আমি টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে বোঝাতে হয় তাহলে কতগুলো সেন্টেন্স আমাকে ইউজ করতে হলো। এজন্য অনেক সময় টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে সবসময় ব্যবহার করতে হলে অনেক সময় এটা কাউন্টার প্রোডাক্টিভ হয়, বুঝতে পারে না স্টুডেন্টরা। এজন্য দ্যাট ইজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য ড্রব্যাকস অফ direct method. And there are some other drawbacks of direct methods. So we can say that direct methods focus on the oral practices, and for this reason vocabulary, words, idioms and methods will be used to make the students appreciate it in case of learning target language. And as there is a direct relation between thought and expression, it helps the learner to having good fluency. Okay, thought process and learning. In case of if any student follows direct method, the learners will get the fluency. It's very natural. And in this method, the teacher proceeds from particular to general and from concrete to abstract, from particular to general and concrete to abstract. So in such a way, they will be teaching direct method. So we have also said that there are some drawbacks. Again, we will say them. Ignore systematic written work in reading activities, may not hold well in high level classes where translation method may be more suitable. Actually, translation method is used to understand the literature of the target language. Our direct method is speaking for our class, listening class. কিন্তু যখন আমরা বলবো যে আপনি হচ্ছে টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে একটা কি করেন, একটা আর্টিকেল লেখেন, তখন আপনাকে হয়তো 20টা আর্টিকেল করতে হবে কোন ভাষায়, টার্গেট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, ইংরেজি ভাষায়। সেটা এই ডিরেক্ট মেথডে, কারণ সেখানে তার রিডিং ক্যাপাবিলিটি সে গ্রহণ করে। আমরা কিভাবে কুইকলি একটা জিনিস পড়তে পারি, হ্যাঁ, কেউ যেমন কেউ হয়তো বা কেউ কিভাবে পড়তেছেন, এভাবে ধরে পড়তেছেন, কেউ আবার এভাবে ধরে পড়তেছেন, কেউ আবার দিস আর দ্য ব্যাড টাইপস অফ রিডিং। কারণ ইন কেস অফ রিডিং মেথড, রিডিং সেখানে কি করাই হবে না, আলোচনাই করা হবে না। জাস্ট in direct method, the direct method will make you efficient in oral communication. So in that case, the direct method students will get less skill in case of reading large text, and especially reading the literature of the target language. And support only limited vocabulary. It restricts the scopes of vocabulary. Not all words can be directly associated with their meanings. Okay, সবগুলো ওয়ার্ডকেই আমরা মিনিং এর সাথে সংযুক্ত করতে পারবো না, সবগুলো ওয়ার্ডকেই আমরা ছবি এঁকে আঁকা বোঝাতে পারবো না। যেমন হ্যাপিনেস, হ্যাঁ, হ্যাপিনেসের ছবি এঁকে বোঝাতে হবে। আবার অ্যাংরি, ঠিক আছে, এবং স্লিপিং এর ছবি এঁকে বোঝাতে হবে। সো এভরি ওয়ার্ড, সবগুলো ওয়ার্ডই আসলে কিভাবে ব্যাখ্যা করা যায় না, অ্যাসোসিয়েটেড উইথ, হ্যাঁ। Okay, so these are the drawbacks of direct method. So we can conclude in such a way: direct method can be called natural approach because it is a reaction of grammar translation method, and direct method initiated the oral proficiency for the learners following some methods. That means in order to demonstration, asking question, the student will be involved in the speaking drill in the classroom, and they will get the oral proficiency, and they will also get the skill of listening, and they will also get the power of communicating among students. Okay, so still it will have some drawbacks. According to Guin, Montaigne and Suvet, they prescribed, and last one we have got another linguist, Frank, and we have also got another linguist, that is Barlich. They are the cursor. That means if we say that you have to tell the linguist who initiated direct method, you have to tell these 5 names. What are the 5 names? Francois Guin, Montaigne, Suvet, Frank, and Barlich. They initiated the direct method. So thank you very much for